if it's Octopath Traveler related and news, put it on the Octopath Traveler page. But before we get further into that, we are live with another episode of Sci-Fi Power Hour ish, and I'm joined by my usual crew. Call it I mean, you could say kind of like my DK crew, but without further ado, let's have them introduce themselves with the lady going first.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Sci-Fi Power Hour. I'm Joy Eli Moonstar, and it's about time we get into some backstories for some of us.
And this is Piggy Don from Video Game Facts, and sorry for mentioning Octopath Traveler at the very beginning because I didn't know we were live right now.
Don't worry, it's okay. Sometimes the podcasts do bleed over. And we are joined, well, of course, it's me. Now, as anyone knows, this entire show is dedicated to, science fiction.
Usually science fiction.
Yeah, science fiction, a little bit of fantasy, but mostly sci-fi, and all of its little permutations and such and so forth and so on. So with that being said, I mean, I guess we're here to talk about what got us into science fiction, what TV shows and such got us into that particular genre. So who wants to go first?
So for me, I'll say that movie got me into sci-fi. Though, if anything, it's probably the most cheesy of them all. I
don't know what movie that is. You can just say it. I don't remember.
Gigawatts.
Oh, you mean Back to
the Future?
Yep.
Marty, we've got to go back to the future. What? Why, Doc? I found Biff Tannen's relatives. We've got to throw them down a flight of stairs, Marty.
You could have just seen Power of Love or Back in Time to give us a hint.
Yeah, but I mean, when I think Back to the Future, I think of the that scoring, that sweeping score.
It's somehow the music that somehow makes you remember it's Back to the Future at times.
Well, yeah, it's so epic because Power of Love. I mean, I like that song, but it's not as epic as the theme. Like Power of Love sounds like it could be a pop song from the 80s. Whereas when you hear, dun, 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 you just hear those bars, okay, yeah, it's Back to the Future.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back.
Like, Marty, we've got to go back to the future and save your kids. What happens? Do me and Jennifer grow up to be assholes or something? And Doc's got to think about it. He's like, well, let's not talk about that right now, Marty. We've got to save your kids. They do. Spoiler alert for Back to the Future too. They do grow up to be assholes. Yes. They do grow up to be assholes.
Which is kind of sad.
Well, I mean that's what happens to a lot of people. You're cool when you're kids, and then you grow up and you have kids and you become an asshole because, I mean, that's the cycle. Very few people manage to stay being hip and cool for their entire lives.
So true.
Very few.
It's my turn. What got me into sci-fi? Well, there's Star Wars, Star Fox, Godzilla. Those three.
Damn. The movie that got me into sci-fi is technically not a science fiction movie, even though it is sci-fi. And it's one of the earliest films I remember seeing, and it was actually The Thing That Came from Another World. The original from like 1956, Howard Hawks film.
That's a good ways back.
Yeah. And it was because the thing you have to remember is that, like, when I was a little kid, cable was coming into the rural areas, but in the suburbs and in the urban areas, cable wasn't a big thing yet. So basically, you had like your normal television stations, like TBS, TNT, your local stations.
TBS.
Yeah, TBS. And TBS used to have this TV show called, like in the afternoon, like around 1:30, 2 o'clock. And it was like the Monster Matinee with Grandpa from the Munsters. And like they would show Godzilla films, they would show cheesy B monster movies like Them or Earth versus the Spider, or stuff like that. Which was actually Earth versus the Spider is one of the first films Clint Eastwood was ever in. He played the pilot who dropped the bomb on the giant tarantula. And yeah, one of the first films I remember watching on that show was The Thing That Came from Outer Space. Now it was terrible, but as a kid, you're like a little kid. You think it's awesome. And I was like, yeah, this is like Frankenstein. Because I'd seen that too, but Frankenstein isn't really science fiction. It's more gothic horror. Yeah, it was fun. And from there, I just started getting into sci-fi. So I would watch that show when I was a little kid. I'd watch Godzilla, even the bad ones like Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, Godzilla versus Monster X, Godzilla versus the Thing.
All kinds of weird ones.
Yeah, there was a period where just Godzilla films just made no goddamn sense, but whatever.
And we just finished our main topic in just a few minutes.
Well, not really. We were going to go further in depth into it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for science fiction. So speaking of that, what other types of science fiction kind of got you into sci-fi movies and such, if you will?
Let's see. Space battles, giant monsters, genetic engineering. All those stuff. Oh, and then laser swords.
Can't forget those.
And blasters.
I remember watching tons of Star Wars knockoff movies. And some of them were actually pretty good, like Ice Pirates when I was a little kid. That the reason I liked that movie is because it had a young Angelica Houston in it before she was in Addams Family or Addams Family Values. Oh, it's a really good movie. Like those movies, the plot of those movies is really weak, but my God, between Angelica Houston and Raul Julia and Christina Ricci and Christopher Lloyd. I forgot the kid's name because no one cares about Pugsley Adams. No one cares about Pugsley. Well, I mean, he's just kind of there. I mean, I doubt anyone really cares about Pugsley Adams. I mean, I'm just saying.
I know. I'm just saying ouch because, well, it's clear that that kid's getting no respect.
I mean, let's keep it real. The coolest character, the coolest people in the Addams Family are Morticia, Gomez, Wednesday, and Uncle Fester, and maybe Grandmama and Lurch and Thing and Cousin It. Like Pugsley isn't even on the list. You know, Pugsley's like, yeah, I'm Pugsley. Whatever. But anyway, those two films are really good though. Like Addams Family Values has more interaction between the Addams, so in some ways it's even better than the first film. Because you don't have to go, well, they're kind of brothers, because now they are brothers and they totally agree with it, you know? Mm-hmm. Which is hilarious. Like where they're like, you know, they're like, children, are you jealous of the new baby? They're like, yeah, we don't want to hurt the new baby. We just want to kill it. And yeah, we used to have sibling rivalry. Remember, you knocked me out and put me in a coma. Yeah, and I choked you out. Yeah, well, you know what I did one night to my brother? I snuck in his room and cut open his skull and took out his brain. And Gomez just looks at him. He's like, "What the fuck, man?" You know? my brain? He's like, don't worry, I put it back.
Really?
Yeah, it's I mean,
Twisted.
But, yeah. I guess the other thing that kind of got me into sci-fi was those Ray Harryhausen flicks.
Which one?
Oh God, The Beast from 30,000 Fathoms, The Valley of Gwangi. Let's see what else. Not Mighty Joe Young, but all those Hercules films he did with his
like all those Greek movies, like Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, Jason and the Argonauts, the Son of Hercules, like where they had like Jason and the Argonauts is one of those films that if you're in film school and you're focusing on special effects, you have to watch it because those special effects for the time were really good. And I mean, they're cheesy, but someone actually made something and it exists, and it's so much better than the CGI we have now, in my opinion. And the scene that he did is the scene where basically like Jason gets these dragon teeth and plants them and creates these skeleton warriors, and there's this massive fight between Jason and these skeleton warriors, and it's all claymation, it's all like stop motion animation. It's really good. Of course, Harryhausen's greatest film, his last film, his masterwork was Clash of the Titans, 1980 Clash of the Titans, that they made a shitty remake to with nothing but CGI. And then they made a sequel to that piece of shit with nothing but CGI.
With all those arguments, you would think that people want to demand a return to stop motion and completely abandon CGI.
It depends on the production, really, or at least how somebody makes it.
And I see so many people on the internet wishing for the return of stop motion and the complete abandonment of CGI out of nostalgia.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing, okay? CGI, when it's done to touch up something, can be awesome. CGI, when you basically just use it in place of something that's actually there, sucks. Case in point.
Explosions?
Well, no, I was going to use a better example. John Carpenter's The Thing is almost all practical special effects, like animatronics, puppets, pneumatic devices that are, you press something, you have a hose, you put some lube with food coloring on it. It looks like slime, and you put air through the hose so it wiggles around so it looks like tentacles that are moving. Those are practical special effects.
And they work.
And that film, the special effects in that film, like 95% of them still hold up. Then you watch the prequel, The Thing, and it's just a whole bunch of fucking CGI, and it looks ridiculous.
Oh, it was originally going to be practical effects, but then Universal just decided to go with CGI on the last minute.
Well, the director of the film wanted to go practical. The producer's the one who actually funds the movie. They were like, no, it looks too retro with these real special with practical special effects. So we need to go CGI, and it looks like
garbage.
Well, I was gonna say ass, but.
And this executive meddling led to the creation of this movie called The Void, which is supposed to be a spiritual successor to The Thing with its practical special effects.
Yeah, I saw that movie, and it's creepy, and it has a lot of practical special effects. There's a scene where this guy's wife that he thought was dead gives birth to this weird creature that goes around killing people. I mean, it is some fucked up shit, but it's all practical special effects, and it's gorgeous. I mean, like
it's a masterpiece.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about practical special effects. Even though mentally, this is not real. It lends itself to the suspension of disbelief versus, a lot of CGI. Like, I mean, I don't care what anyone says. Like the new Jurassic Park movies, yeah, they made a lot of money, but they still, to me, the dinosaurs in them still don't look nearly as interesting as the dinosaurs they had in the first movie. But yeah, I like science fiction in movies, cinema, books, comics. It's all good.
Which is pretty neat.
And continuing on, I'm hoping that there's a movie, hoping that there's some kind of independent movie, an independent sci-fi movie involving a monster brawl, with one being brought to life by CGI and the other being brought to life by stop motion, as some kind of metaphor between the two arguments of the internet, the audience from the internet, and the producers in the film industry.
Not likely.
I mean, if it's gonna be done, it's gonna be done by it's gonna be done independently, like small time. Because even crappy special effects, to me, practical special effects are better than a lot of CGI. Because I mean, like CGI just looks better.
If applied right, then it could do pretty much a lot of things. But digital, it can make things better, but oh god, it can be noticeable if it's done wrong. Like the cheesy FX explosions, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I can get that. But even then, I mean, practical explosions look cooler to me than CGI explosions, because CGI explosions look so fake, you know. And you can tell. You can look at it and be like,
it's too bright.
Yeah. But
do you feel the same way of the CGI in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that you wish they could have been used practical special effects?
For a lot of it, yeah. Especially like, okay, the first Avengers movie, you don't see it doesn't look that bad. But Age of Ultron, oh my god, it goes overboard. Age of Ultron, like literally, you can see, if you really look at Age of Ultron like really closely, you can see when they're like dodging all these beams from the fake Ultron bots that aren't actually there. You can see when they switch to the stunt doubles. You can see the stunt doubles who don't look in any peril at all. Like, if you're a superhero, yeah, you're the good guys. You should look like, man, shit, if you mess up, shit could go down. Literally, the stunt doubles look just
terrible.
Well, I mean, like, they're just, oh, let me get out the way of this beam. Let me just bend down right here. I mean, it looks bad. It does not look very believable or engaging. And I know this is something fantastical. So you can't be like, you know, but it's still, you know.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yeah, I'm a sucker for those types of. I'm a sucker for practical special effects. Like even bad practical special effects. Like if it's a shitty costume, I'm still like, at least someone went through the effort of procuring materials and putting on a costume. Like even if it's shitty, you know, I'll give it more props than someone just going in a computer and making something. But hey, I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm just a guy.
Yeah, because I've been hearing stories about how making computer-generated characters is a lot harder than it looks.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I refuse to believe that it is as
difficult.
That it is as difficult as someone making practical special effects. Because at the end of the day, the limitation that you have with CGI is how much time do you have and how powerful your hardware is to render it. Like, if you have enough time, you can make that shit look as good as you want to. With practical special effects, your limitation is time, materials, money, and there's all these other factors that factor in aside from just how good your computer is and how good the program is to render it. But even then, no matter how much time and energy you spend on conventional CGI, it's still, after about a year, going to look like shit. Like, I saw the Thing prequel, and like, I didn't see it when it first came out, but then I watched it like later on. Man, those graphics are bad. I mean, they are just awful.
Terrible.
It's not good. But I guess anything else you guys want to talk about until we move on to the next topic?
Oh yes, there is this one sci-fi show that we could discuss about that just recently ended last week.
All right.
Which one?
Darling in the Franxx.
Never heard of it.
Oh, nuh-uh.
Never heard of it. Sorry.
It's an anime that's a collaboration between Trigger Studios and A1. They got the same studio behind Sword Art Online.
Well, there you go. I like, ironically enough, even though I'm really into sci-fi, I don't like sci-fi animes by and large. Like, there was a period when I was really into them, but I don't like modern sci-fi animes because to me they're just kind of stupid. But that's just me.
Apparently, it had an interesting premise, but as it drags on to up to episode 20, it starts falling apart.
Yeah, a lot of animes do that, especially sci-fi animes. It's like the premise is really interesting, and then once you get past the first
few episodes.
Well, the first act, it falls apart. Like it just, there's very few animes that kind of can maintain their interest, the story, which is why I got to give props to something like One Piece. Even though a lot of people don't like One Piece because it will never end.
To be honest with you, I get what One Piece is going for, but at the same time, how much beeping filler is there?
Yeah, there is a lot of filler, but it's still not as bad as Dragon Ball. It's Dragon Ball Z. It's not as bad as Dragon Ball Z with the filler.
And it's not as bad as the Naruto filler.
Yeah, it's not Naruto, because here's the thing: even when you have a filler episode, there's still character growth going on. Dragon Ball Z and Naruto have filler where it's just like, you did all of that.
Get on with it.
Like in Dragon Ball Z, during the Buu saga, Goku goes through all this trouble to get powered up just so that they can have him get wiped out.
What?
It's like, I don't see the point. Like, we could have taken that shit out and just moved on to the next thing. And they do that a lot. And Naruto has the same thing where it's like, a guy shows up, he's like, I'm really powerful, and then gets his ass kicked, and it's like, just so that they just build up the villain so that the hero can come in and take him out. Like, I'm getting tired of that in animes. And mangas don't do it so much, but animes are bad about it. Yeah. No, the only anime I really like these days, like sci-fi animes that I like Outlaw Star from back in the day.
Same.
I like
Cowboy Bebop.
I did not like Cowboy Bebop. I never liked Cowboy Bebop.
How dare you?
It was like one of those things where it's like, I can choose to like Cowboy Bebop, or I can choose to like Outlaw Star. To me, I know people like Spike, but I like Gene Starwind better. I like the characters.
He's more reckless than better, which is why I like Spike more.
There you go. Everyone has their opinion. Mine is that Spike.
Opinions are like a-holes.
Everyone has one. Yeah. For me, Spike was just kind of not so much Gene. Like, Gene Starwind was interesting, but it was the side characters. Like, and it was also interesting how Gene was just having sex with everyone on the Outlaw Star except for Jim. He was going with the samurai chick. He was going with the wolf chick. He like the Hilda, the one-eyed lady. He was hitting her before he got. I mean, basically, Gene was a total player, man. He was
he was hitting 1,000.
He was batting 1,000. So I give props to Gene. What? Yeah, and even Melfina. He was also hitting Melfina. So look, listen, Gene was space dandy, but the right way, done the right way. Okay.
Thank you.
And then I liked Vandred Stage 1 and Stage 2. 26 episodes. Interesting premise. And if you get a chance, watch the Japanese version of it and not the
English translation.
English version of it, because it changes a lot of stuff, which messes up like the plot lines. What else? And my personal favorite, the Big O.
Big O.
Yeah. I like those Die Ranger shows.
The Super Sentais?
Well, I mean, they aren't Super Sentais. They're basically like Die Ranger, Mazinger. Basically, Mazinger is the anime version of the Sentai shows, except it looks better animated, because Sentai looks fucking ridiculous. When they're having a sword fight, you can clearly tell the sword is just made out of foam. It's like,
I was gonna say it's not bad, but it's cheese.
It looks ridiculous. Whereas, in anime, it can actually be a dude with a sword. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for those types of animes. I like Scried. I know Scried. But basically, I like animes. You notice all the animes I mentioned have a certain amount of episodes, and then they end. And it's not like 8,000 episodes or 300 or 72. Gintama was getting on my nerves.
Bleach.
Yeah, Gintama was getting on my nerves because it was getting too far.
But now you've got people complaining about seasonal anime and wish they could have lasted longer.
Oh, well, that's the thing. But I would rather be left wanting more than having too much. Till my stomach explodes. Because
you got people complaining about seasonal anime, saying that the anime industry is running out of original ideas, even though they've been complaining about how anime back in the past lasted way too long with its fillers. Back when they didn't have any seasonal anime.
I gotta disagree. I think with the advent of seasonal anime, you can have more ideas because you don't take as much of a risk. You don't have to put it all out on the table. You can try something. If it finds an audience, you keep it going. If it doesn't find an audience, you go back to the manga, right? Because people forget the anime is there. No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying you always have something to look forward to when you have something in seasons, rather than have everything thrown at you at once and not be able to digest it.
Well, people forget that anime was there to. The animes originally were there to boost interest for the manga, right? Because basically, the anime would because I don't care, no matter how detailed a manga is, anime can take that art style and push it further, because by the nature of it being animated. It's like I said earlier, it's the reason why Power Rangers in any incarnation looks fucking ridiculous. But then you take that same concept and put it in a mecha anime, and the shit it's like, wow, this is cool. Same stuff's going on, but one looks like little kids dressed up in cosplay fighting each other with foam weapons that they got from the costume store, and the other one looks badass because one's animated and the other one's live action with people in costumes, and not good costumes, like shitty costumes with really stupid storylines, like, as long as we have friendship, we can overcome anything. Well, let your friendship beat that dude over there who's all powerful and basically a god, and we don't have any of that power. He kicks our asses. You keep on talking about friendship when he destroys it.
Makes me wish that there is an anime involving a villain as a protagonist, whereas the heroes are the show's antagonists, and the villain wins all and the wins gets a last minute power up that kills the hero.
They do have those. There's Overlord. Ains Al Ghul is basically the bad guy. He's the villain. Who else? Chronicles of a Demon Lord. That's a manga / light novel, but you play the main character is the villain. What else? Bastard. Bastard. The main villain of Bastard is Dark Schneider, who is an evil sorcerer, and also the villain.
Which is funny.
Yeah, it is, because he's insanely OP as fuck. His magic is insane. It's almost cheap. Almost. But
I was about to say almost fighting boss cheap.
Well, not to that level. There are characters who can defeat him, but overall he's pretty damn powerful. But that's neither here nor there. Let's
move on to the next subject.
Yes, and the next subject is sci-fi you're looking forward to over the next, half of the year, basically.
Let's see. Any sci-fi shows, movies, or games coming out for the rest of the year?
You got the Predator reboot coming out from Shane Black, which may or may not be good. We don't know. The last movie I saw from Shane Black I liked, but I don't know if Shane Black can pull this off. Next year you've got Godzilla versus Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is basically it's gonna be the American version of the Godzilla film Toho should be making, but they fucked up and made Shin Godzilla instead.
But that's next year. We're talking about this year, though.
Yeah, you can stretch it out. I mean, you've got Godzilla versus King Ghidorah versus Mothra versus Rodan. So, I mean, listen, you've already got
play.
Like I said, right? This is the movie Toho should have been making, but they fucked up and made Evangelion Zilla. So that's where they messed up. Evangelion Zilla.
To be fair, there are Godzilla fans who prefer Shin Godzilla over Godzilla 2014 because it was made by Toho.
Well, that's true, but the thing is that Toho wants to create this shared universe, which they fucking had when they went with the original format of the Godzilla films of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. And then they're like, no, we're going to do Shin Godzilla. And I'm like, I don't even like this version of Godzilla because he looks derpy as fuck. And plus you have the military finally pulling their shit together and actually defeating Godzilla, which was a mistake because if I know anything about a Godzilla film, the military is supposed to get their ass kicked every time. They're 100 losses and 0 wins. They're basically the team that fights the Harlem Globetrotters in the Harlem Globetrotters. They always lose. That's the point. They're there to lose. We're the military. We have tanks and jets and guns and bombs. It's Godzilla.
They still lost.
What are you gonna do?
0.
They still lost Godzilla in the end.
Not really. No. At the end of that movie, the military detonates buildings on them. They've got fucking cranes. They put the super blood anti-coagulant in him. I mean, it's like they have a plan. They actually defeat the monster. It's like you kind of fucked up.
It wasn't the military. It was the idea of the millennials, the Japanese millennials.
Not really. But the people who had to implement the shit was the military. It's like, that's kind of fucked up. The only win of that movie is that they didn't nuke the city.
It's also a breath of fresh air that the military won against Godzilla for once.
Nah. If it's
the same.
If it's Godzilla, the military has to lose every time, all the time, every time. But anyway, yeah, Shin Godzilla, basically they're like, well, we're gonna make this Godzilla not traditional, but you know, I'm an old head, so I'm like, no, fuck that. Every time people go experimental with Godzilla, more often than not, it's
a disaster.
Like Godzilla '98.
Somehow messing with Godzilla always ends with a mess around them.
Yeah, now Shin Godzilla isn't '98 bad, but it's definitely not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of green tea done in the Japanese tea ceremony. It's not my cup of tea. I mean, like I said, ironically, Godzilla 2014 has more in common with classic Godzilla than Shin Godzilla does. That derpy looking bastard. But anyway, but they're gonna fix it now with their new films because Toho got their shit together, and so you know. I don't have to sit there and figure out, well, why the hell does Godzilla? Why am I getting such an even? Maybe they'll get a director who can have Godzilla be the badass he's supposed to be.
And one thing I should mention about Godzilla, he's making an appearance in the My Hero Academia movie.
What? Is he gonna kill everybody?
No, he's actually one of the heroes.
They must have gotten 70s Godzilla.
And he wears a Hokage outfit.
They must have gotten the 70s Godzilla to pull that off.
He looks like the 90s incarnation. I'll see.
That's cool. That's cool. I like 90s Godzilla. Millennium, not so much, but 90s is pretty cool. I think they kind of messed up when they kept on making Godzilla bigger and bigger and bigger, because now it's like he's so big that it kind of messes with the mobility that Godzilla used to have back in the day. So
here's what he looks like. I posted the link to the image.
Yeah, that's basically 90s. It's basically 90s Godzilla. I'm okay with that. I can share that. And I shall. Yeah, folks, it's 90s Godzilla.
Dress up as a Hokage.
Yeah, but does he really need
that?
Godzilla doesn't need to be dressed up like a Hokage. I mean, Godzilla's basically like the Hulk. Because I mean, the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. He keeps on fighting. And when you if you really want to piss off Godzilla, mess with his kid. Because that's when you know you fucked up.
Now you effed up.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I watched Godzilla vs. Destroyer a week ago, and I was like, yeah, the moment when Destroyer knew he fucked up was when he killed Godzilla's son. It's like, dude, you fucked up. Now you got to die. But yeah, we kind of went off on a tangent with Godzilla. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I was about to say, that's your thing.
Movies, other sci-fi IPs.
Yeah, other sci-fi stuff. There's nothing I'm really, there's nothing I'm really interested in. Finally, I started watching Luke Cage. The first few episodes are not that good, but it gets better. I'm about halfway through. I'm 6 episodes in. I'm going to finish it this weekend. There's no movies.
I still need to watch The Punisher and season 2 of Jessica Jones. Because I've been busy playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 until this week. Where
you finally finished it. Yeah, like I said, isn't the final battle kind of like meh? At least to me it was. I was like,
It doesn't have that oomph, right?
I mean, I hate to say this, but the best final battle I've ever seen from that team in a video game was the final battle against Malpercio and Gelderblame in the first Baiting Kato's game. That was a really good final battle.
The final battle was kind of a bore fest because he's nothing more than an HP sponge.
Well, because the reason it was easy for me is just like, okay, all I have to do is just get like 6 or 7 orbs around them, and it'll trigger a cutscene. And you just have to. All you have to do is get enough get enough elemental orbs, then break them, and then use one of your ultimate attacks once you fill the gauge, and it's like he's done. It's like, really, this is easy. and plus, when I fought him, I was like really high level, and I had Nia made into a super healer. So whenever my HP started going down, I'm like, oh, she can heal. It's ridiculous. It's like, damn, man, why are you so easy?
Simple. You got yourself a bodyguard.
There are other enemies that are way harder, like the little special enemies. But I thought the final boss would be a lot more difficult. But
so I wasn't expecting his one move that was supposed to be a one-hit KO move. If you didn't raise your HP high enough.
Yeah. Like basically, all my characters' HP was maxed out with little accessories you can equip and stuff. So I was like, I'm fine. I'm good. I can beat these guys. But anyway, yeah, the game was pretty good.
Need to know.
Isn't the Dune show supposed to come out next year or 2020?
Doom what?
Dune
show?
Doom?
Yeah, Dune, not Doom.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. When I heard, I think the guy who Denis Villeneuve, the dude who directed Blade Runner 2049, he's also doing the Dune movie. But I'm like, why? Because Dune is such a dense, cakey, epic story. It would be better to do it in the form of
a show,
of a miniseries. Well, not a miniseries, like a Netflix style 10, 13 episode miniseries would probably be a better way to do it. Because personally, I like Dune. I've read the books. I watched the movie. I played the games. I like Dune, but it is not good. Like, I'm tired of people trying to make it into a movie because it's not really. Dune is not what I would call good movie material. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that's what people said about the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and lo and behold.
Yeah, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy lends its story structure well to be a movie, because basically most of the Lord of the Rings, like if you read the trilogy, Tolkien spends a lot of time talking about food and describing food and going over elven names. His action segments or his action sequences are kind of shitty.
Few and far between.
They're there, but they're not very good. The best action sequence that he does is in the Two Towers, where it's the Battle of the Ents versus Saruman's the orcs in Saruman's tower. That's about it. The rest of it sounds really epic. The Battle of Helm's Deep, not really that cool. Basically, if you take a boring book and adapt it into a movie, you can work. Like Jurassic Park, the book kind of boring. The movie very good. Jaws, the book very boring. The movie very good. It's kind of hard. I love The Godfather, one of my favorite books of all time. The book, kind of boring parts. The movie, really good. It's hard to do. Yeah, it's hard to do that vice versa. Dune is also a really dry movie, but the thing is like, for the people who are really into Dune, it's and plus, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is 3 books. You can do a movie for each book. Dune has it has 8 books in the main story. Then you've got 6 supplementary books on top of that made with Frank Herbert's notes using his son who published it along with another author. So, I mean, that is a huge world, and I would not want to tackle that in a movie. Even if you just went with the first book, it's still kind of hard. So I wouldn't touch it. But if Dennis Villeneuve wants to go for it, knock himself out. I probably killed his name, but whatever.
It works either way, right?
Villeneuve. Whatever his name is.
I just remembered something that I should discuss. How was your Friday the 13th yesterday?
Oh, that.
I watched a couple of Friday the 13th movies, and that's it.
Good fortune all around.
Yeah, it was good.
Though, if anything, it was kind of slow.
I mean, my favorite thing was watching, and I watched some of my favorite horror movies. I watched a duology of Creepshow. So Creepshow 1 and Creepshow 2. I like those movies. They're pretty good.
And I was just spending my time looking for the Pearl and Marina amiibos, as well as helping a student for his math test.
All right.
Sounds like you got something going on right there.
Yeah. As well as playing some Rocket League.
Am I the only one who doesn't give a shit about Alita Battle Angel? That's coming out this month, July 20th, so next week. It's Alita Battle Angel, or Battle Angel Alita, as it was called in the manga and the anime. This movie looks fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's an anime. It's a sci-fi movie adapted from an anime, right?
It
looks odd.
It's adapted from anime. Like, here's the thing: the West does not have a good record of adapting animes, and I say this as someone who's watched a lot of them. I saw Ghost in the Shell. I did not like it. I saw Fist of the North Star. I did not like it. Basically, whenever the West gets a manga, they fuck up the adaptation.
That is no better either, because their Attack on Titan movie is pretty bad as well.
Yeah, they just stop taking something that works really well in anime or manga form and trying to turn it live action, because it looks ridiculous. Unless you're doing something where it's kind of rooted in real life, like Golgo 13 or Lupin the Third. Like, it's the guy stealing shit. You could make that look cool live action because it's been done before. You can make, I mean, good luck finding a lady as well endowed as Fujiko Mine, but, you know, good luck with that one. But, I mean, aside from that, you could get a samurai dude who wields a sword, dude who looks like Jigen the Hitman. You could do a dude who looks like Zenigata the detective. But obviously you can get a guy who looks like Arsène Lupin, but the third. But it's going to be really hard
to find an actor that has such gifts.
No, I was going to say it's going to be really hard to get characters who look. It's going to be hard to get characters who look the same for something fantastic. August 3rd, Jesus Christ, August 3rd. Oh, they're doing a Predator revival. I might watch that just so that I can say it's got Olivia Munn cast as a fucking doctor. Come on, Olivia Munn. No. We've also got Jason Statham in The Meg. I might watch that just because it has Jason Statham, because it's Jason Statham.
Speaking of the Meg, it's also another movie based on a book.
You're right. There is a book called The Meg, but I don't think this movie is based on that book. If it is, it's loosely based. It's got Jason Statham in it, so I'm okay with it.
And I'm expecting Shark Week to promote the movie.
It's not going to promote that movie. It's not going to promote that movie. I mean, they might, but probably not. Keanu Reeves is going to be another.
They've already promoted the Shallows, which was the last shark movie.
Yeah, but the Shallows really had. Well, never mind. Keanu Reeves is coming out with a movie August 24th, and it's going to be about replicas. A guy trying to bring his family members back from the dead after they die in a car accident. It's got Keanu Reeves, who I call one of the worst successful actors I've ever seen because the man cannot act his way out of a wet paper bag.
Even in The Matrix?
No. What makes The Matrix work is that it has a really cool premise and Lawrence Fishburne is there to lend some gravitas to it. But Keanu Reeves cannot fucking act it at all. Like, his acting chops have not gotten any better since the days of Bill and Ted's Excellent Journey.
I thought it was Bogus Journey.
Excellent Adventure, Excellent Adventure, and Bogus Journey. Look, his acting, Keanu Reeves cannot act at all. He is a terrible actor. It's god awful.
Not to mention his awful British accent in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Don't get me accents. Oh man, you should watch The Devil's Advocate, where he tries to pull off a Southern accent. And listen, I don't really have an accent. Like, if someone said, "Where are you from?" you probably couldn't tell where I was born or where I'm from, like which region of the country I'm from. But I was born in the South. I've heard a lot of people with Southern accents, and hearing Keanu Reeves trying to pull up a Southern accent,
it's a terrible nightmare for the audio.
I'm from the South, man. You sit your ass down. Whoa, dude! You just stick with that, Keanu. Just stick with that. At the end of this year, they're doing the Mortal Engines, which is basically like based on the book series, the Mortal Engines, which is about this desolate Earth where people live in these mobile cities that go around attacking other cities in order to replenish their resources. Interesting thing. The book sounds really interesting. I don't want to watch a movie based on the book. But whatever. There's another movie coming out sometime, they think, this year. It stars a Chinese lady and Samuel L. Jackson.
Ladies and gentlemen, we could predict where this could go.
This movie already has my seal of approval just because it has Samuel L. Jackson in it. And it's about it's called Inversion, and it's about the Earth gradually losing its gravity. And I want to see this movie. I hope it's rated R, just so I can hear Samuel L. Jackson say, "What the fuck is going on? Why is the gravity leaving? Gravity, get your ass back here and go back on the Earth. What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Oh, and there's also Venom coming out next year.
Oh God, did you have to mention that shit? Sorry.
Did I hear that right?
I have to, as a Spider-Man fan.
They're making a Venom movie that has no connection to Spider-Man.
Oh, we can guess where this goes.
Yeah.
There's a trash can a block to the left.
Yeah. They're doing a Men in Black spin-off. What?
And then there's Captain Marvel to look forward to next year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to it because Marvel hasn't fucked up yet, except with Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World. But aside from that, except for they're 19 movies in, except for like 2 of them, they've been pretty consistently good. So
I've been hearing that Ant-Man and Wasp has been getting some negative feedback.
It's solid. It's not great, but it's solid. I mean, it's on par. It's still pretty good. So like 17, 18, depending on your opinion. But generally speaking, all of them are solid. Transformers 7, oh God, fuck no.
Transformers what?
Yeah, they're going to make another Transformers. I don't know why. A Terminator reboot, don't give a shit.
you just reminded me of that. There's going to be a Bumblebee spin-off movie coming out this year.
Yeah, the Bumblebee spin-off movie looks cooler because they actually have the Transformers in their classical outfits looking like they used to look, and when they transform, you can actually see them fucking transform. Like, here's the thing. The worst thing that happened to Transformers was Michael Bay directing the shit, because Michael Bay...
And how many movies does he have?
like
5.
Like 7. Like, almost all of them he's directed, including that one that came out last year where apparently the Transformers helped free the slaves. They were helping the GIs fight the Nazis. That's bullshit. Here's an interesting film directed by Ang Lee, starring Will Smith. Basically, it's called Gemini Man, and it stars a Smith who will play an older hitman who has to face off against a younger clone of himself.
Oh, and the older Will Smith looks like Uncle Phil.
I guess. I don't know, but I like the idea. I like the idea of this is a cool premise. An assassin who has to fight a clone of a younger version of himself. That's actually cool. That's like some Looper shit right there.
But that also sounds like Metal Gear.
Well, to be fair, Hideo Kojima stole all his ideas from movies, so it's about time for movies to get their shit back. I think we can all agree on that.
True.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 9. I'm not watching it. Alien Covenant sequel. Jesus Christ! Fuck.
It's actually called Alien Awakening, from what I've heard.
They can call it whatever the hell they want to. They need to take that movie and shove it right back up Ridley Scott's ass. Sorry, I'm tired of his shitty ass movies. Like, people should have taken that shit away from him after Prometheus, and they just gave him another. Hey man, here, wipe your ass on this again. You know, you didn't get all that shit the first time. This is 2020. Godzilla versus Kong. I guess that's cool.
Hey, it's a classic battle to look forward to.
Sometime in the future, James Cameron will come out with Avatar 2. I don't think anyone gives a shit, or at least I don't.
And let's not forget the other Avatar sequels that James Cameron is making.
Look, man, let me put it this way. I think Avatar 2 is gonna bomb, and I think Avatar is gonna go the way of the dodo, because
You mean that blue one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Avatar.
beep.
Very special effects heavy. He's like, yeah, we're gonna do 3, 4, and 5. I'm like, man, why don't you get the next one out and then talk about getting the other ones out after that? Because Avatar ain't Star Wars or Indiana Jones, or James Bond. Jurassic World 3. I don't really care.
It's gonna be interesting. Dinosaurs in the mainland.
Dinosaurs just fucking straight up killing people. It's gonna be a slasher film. Raptors hunting people down.
There's only one raptor, actually.
That you know of. Don't forget, there's that second site that they never even mentioned.
Oh, yeah, Site B.
Yeah. See, here's the problem, man.
Like, there is a video I watched that mentions why didn't they go to Site B? It's because it too has an active volcano.
Yeah, they never mention that. They just talk about Site B. We never know that if it has an active volcano. We don't know. I know it exists. I know there's other dinosaurs. And plus, I mean, haven't they stolen the embryos like 4 or 5 times down these fucking movies? And yet still, and the technology to create more embryos. I mean, it's like no one notices. Hey, man, these dinosaurs keep on breaking out and fucking people up. Yeah, let's stop making them. No. We need another movie. They're doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah, it's been rumored, but there's no confirmation.
Yeah, I don't know either. And finally, there's going to be a Star Blazers movie. It's based on a cult anime TV series from the 70s. I'm not entirely sure what Star Blazers is. I'm going to look it up because now you got me curious. You got me wanting to know something. Oh shit! It's that anime. Oh man, I didn't know that.
What does it look like?
It's like Voltron Force except in space.
Huh.
That is pretty family cool.
This looks like this. You know what Star Blazers is? Star Blazers is a reskin, is a westernized reskin of the Harlock Saga, which is basically like a space opera type thing, except heavily cordoned down because they didn't want to talk about the shit.
Oh yes, I recognize this anime, though I never seen it myself.
Which one is it?
Star Blazers.
Blazers.
Yeah, it's a Harlock. It's kind of like when they brought. I think it's from Harmony Gold. It's like when they brought over Macross. It became Robotech here in America. Like the Harlock Saga, instead of being called the Harlock Saga, they called it Star Blazers, and changed a lot of the characters.
That's international
stories.
I think that's called international tripping.
Yeah, they messed it up.
It also got a modern reboot.
Yeah. They probably just stole more footage from Harlock Saga because the Harlock Saga is one of the longest running animes and mangas because they still are doing it. It's actually pretty interesting. It's got like space battles and shit. It's actually pretty cool. That's where you get the Japanese style of space operas where a dude is wearing like a weird hat and smoking a pipe on a ship for some reason. So there you go. We are at the end of the podcast. So any sci-fi properties you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Nothing at the moment.
I'm good.
I mean, I already talked about Darla and the Franks, so I've got nothing.
All right. This is Mr. Red Fox signing off. Tomorrow at 7:30 to 9 o'clock, we'll be doing a BS Busters talking about Octopath Traveler. Not to be confused with Octopussy from James Bond. So yeah, look forward to that. Thank you for watching the Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish. Remember, this will be almost, every week, 7:30 to 8:30. Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish. That's called Hour-ish because it's about an hour long. Sometimes a little bit under, sometimes a little bit over. So thank you. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Both my other panelists have articles on Discus. So if you get a chance, go there. Video Game Facts on Discus. Great forum for video game and science fiction and some pop culture discussion. So with that being said, thank you. Enjoy. And good night.
And hype responsibly.